Hello viewers and welcome to another episode of Excel Learning. Today we are going to learn about another interesting topic relating to Power Query, and this will help us decode huge amount of data in a very quick turnaround time. I'm not calling it a capsule because I'm going to cover a practical case study in it. Hence it is going to take slightly longer than 5 minutes. So stay tuned. In case you are visiting the channel for the first time, do consider subscribing if you like the contents and hit the bell icon to receive a notification as soon as a new video is released. Now let us jump to the topic what it is. What is this unpivot? I mean, we have all heard about pivot, but what is this unpivot? If you want to pivot, what is the need of unpivoting? I mean, that's very confusing. I mean, when I came across this term, I was like highly confused. Why do we need to unpivot? I mean, pivot is something that we have always been taught. Ki learn pivot in Excel, learn pivot in Excel. Now somebody is coming and telling ki learn how to unpivot the data. So here is an interesting use case that I'll first illustrate to make you understand what is the utility of unpivot, when do you require to use it, and how it can be done in quick, easy steps. Let us jump on to the example. So let's say I have this raw data. So this is one of the uh, actual questions that a very close friend of mine asked me a couple of days back, wherein he presented his boss asked him to work on this data. So he has got the P&L which is by state. So there are 8 states in which the organization operates, and these are the financial statements. The numbers as well as the states have been masked. These are just for illustration purposes. No numbers have correlation whatsoever to any organization. These are all dummy numbers which have been created by using a random function in Excel. So you have a P&L statement. So now somebody would imagine to say ki, sort of this looks good. What's the problem with it? The problem is it's not good for analysis. Let me give you an example. Now you want to analyze it in such a way that you have the states, you have the profits, as well as you have the sale proceeds. Now in this fashion, let me just zoom back. In this fashion, it is relatively easier for you to analyze, but just look at this data. Is it even possible to look at the data in that fashion? Even for comparing the sale proceeds, you'll have to look at it this way. You cannot look at it in a columnar fashion, etc, etc. Again, if I want to look at analyze other line items by state, we human beings are actually accustomed to looking at things in a vertical manner. Now suddenly if the dimension changes to a horizontal manner, it becomes very difficult to analyze. So his boss has asked him to kind of create this kind of a data wherein everything is there in a column and all the states are also there in columns along with values. This is now in a pivot table shape. So now you can pivot the data and you can arrange it the way you want, whereas this is actually the pivot of the original data. But using the pivot of an original data, you cannot really analyze fast because that does not give you the pivoting capabilities. Hence what we have to do is we first need to create an unpivot, which is basically, I'm just zooming in, unpivot basically takes it back to the original shape wherein you have everything in such a shape. You have all the attributes in a column as well as other particulars as a separate column along with values. Now this is completely in a pivot table shape. Now we can simply put a pivot around it and slice and dice the way we want. Hope the objective is clear. And now somebody might say sort of this is possible by using VLOOKUP. Yes, it is. But then I believe you would be having to use multiple VLOOKUPs to accomplish this, which is going to take you a lot of time. Instead, let me show you a quick trick to accomplish the same task in a much reduced time, number one. Number two, it is also interactive. What I mean by that is, let's say if I change the value here, let's say my sale proceeds, if you look at here, my sale proceeds are 23,61,098 for state 1. Now let me just increase it to, let's say, 43 lakh rupees, 61,198. Now how do I get the data updated here? Now if you see, I had made the changes in state 1. So state 1, I had made the changes. Now if you see state 1, the sale proceeds are reflecting as 23,61,000, whereas the new result that you want is 43,61,000. Easy peasy. We just need to go to the data tab. We'll just click on refresh all for 2 times. So once, second time. That's all. We got the sale proceeds to be updated. So that's the beauty of it. So we don't have to really struggle to again make the entire thing from scratch. Let's say next month you have got another state added here. Let's say the company starts operations in another state or maybe 3 additional states. Tada! The job is very easy because you already have everything in an interactive fashion, and the moment you click refresh, your data gets updated with that number. Right? Sounds good? Let us see how to accomplish the same. So let me do it from scratch. So what I'll do is I'll copy the data and I'll create a new workbook. I'm just pasting it in a new workbook. That's it. Now first, before proceeding, what we should do is, because we are going to use Power Query, it is always advisable to convert your data in a table format. It's pretty simple to do that. But why I suggest to do that is so that if there is any updation in the column or if there is any updation in the row, it automatically gets picked up in Power Query. Because it's a table, and table automatically expands itself according to the new rows and columns that are required. You don't have to manually keep updating the ranges. The same holds good for a pivot table as well, wherein it's always recommended to convert your base data into a table, right? So how do we do that? The shortcut for it is Control plus T. We'll use Control plus T, and yes, my table has headers, right? Now it is converted into a table format. I don't want the band-aid rows look. It looks good to me like this. Now, what is the next step? Please look at carefully. Go to the data tab. Inside the data tab, please click on from table. Now this will be available in 2013 as Power Query separate tab, and 2010 as well. In 2016 onwards, my version is 2016, you will get it as in data get and transform. That's the option we are talking about. Inside that we are talking about from table because it's a table and you want to take it to Power Query. We'll select from table. It will open up a new screen, which is the screen for Power Query, and just observe. So it has opened a new query, which is table 1. You don't need to know too much of technicalities at this point in time. We'll simply do some magic over here. We have this column. First, we will just right click on it and we will click on Unpivot other column. Just look at the results first. The moment we do that, we have got what we wanted. Instead of having to apply multiple VLOOKUPs, etc., so on and so forth. Now what is the next thing that you want to do? Sale proceeds has got a lot of gaps before sale, which is not looking nice. So we just need to trim it. So right click on the column, click on transform, click on clean, that is first step, and then again right click, transform and trim. In Power Query, it has to be typically done in 2 steps, whereas in Excel, it is 1 step of trim that is sufficient. So that's all that we needed. It just took a couple of seconds to do this. And then we'll click on close and load. The moment we do that, it will create a new query and all the data from that query will be pasted in sheet 2. Tada! Our job is done. Now what we need to do? Just insert a pivot. So we'll go to insert tab and we'll click on pivot table. Let's say I want to paste it here itself just for you to see. And what do I want? I want basically the attribute or the state over here. I want the particulars to be in the column wherein I only want, let's say, the sale proceeds and the profit. I get this and I'll put the value here. So in matter of minutes or seconds rather, I would say, you have the everything converted into a form from which it is very easy to slice and dice. So this was our end result. Now I don't need the grand total, so I'll simply go over to design, and for grand totals I'll keep it on for columns only. That's what I need. And if you look at the original results, let me take you to the original results. These were the original results that we had. Similarly, we have here. Post that, I have just applied a conditional formatting to identify the negative values. So you can simply select the 2 columns, go to home tab, conditional formatting, highlight cell rules, highlight cell rules and less than 0. That's it. So it will tell us quickly that which are the states which are giving a negative profit. So just look at the size of the problem. If you see, it was the raw data, converting it into pivotable raw data would have been much more challenging if you would have considered plain vanilla VLOOKUP. We simply unpivoted the data, so as to say, using Power Query in a matter of seconds, and then we are again ready to pivot in any way we like. Now let me show you the other beauty of it, updation. For instance, you have got state 9 also over here. Let me just copy state 6 and make it state 9, just for instance. Right now, again, you don't need to do the entire exercise. Again, as I said to you, you'll just have to go to data, refresh all, you'll click once, and then again we will click on refresh all. 2 times you have to press on refresh all, and you see state 9 is appearing here. So you do it once, you get the results again and again and again, because everything is like interactive. So that was the topic for today on unpivoting and pivoting. Hope you enjoyed the video. Do share in the comment section your own experiences regarding this, and thank you so much for watching. Take care. See you again. Bye bye.